Eminem is back. More than 25 years since his first big hit, My Name Is, he's returned in the form of Rap Boy and Artificial Intelligence in Houdini, a song that reminds us of the mythical Without Me, where the Detroit wordsmith compiled a savage diss track and broke an already humiliated Moby, leaving him on the floor in pieces, a homophobic train wreck. So today I bring you a very intense compilation of singers who have been attacked, insulted, and in many cases humiliated by Eminem in his songs. Subscribe to the channel if you love old school hip-hop. And now let's those humiliated ones appear. Christina Aguilera. Now you can't compile a video of singers humiliated by Eminem without mentioning the artist who acted like a real she-wolf in Dirty, and then at the same time told the ungraceful young women who consumed her music that they were beautiful. The pair first clashed in the late 1990s, when the genie-in-a-bottle hitmaker spoke about him during MTV's What a Girl Wants, and initially she praised the rapper. However, she quickly criticized him in a tongue-in-cheek manner when she revealed to the world that Marshall had married his longtime partner Kim, news that was not yet in the public domain, and this only upset Eminem. After the statements, Christina Aguilera was one of the celebrities named by him in his song, The Real Slim Shady, and that ignited their enmity, since he named her and went on to say that she spent a long time bent over in the dressing rooms, and on top of that, with a loser like Fred Durst. During an MTV Awards ceremony, they reconciled to an extent, but more than a decade later, Eminem once more mentioned Christina's desire to sleep with famous artists, and went on to mock the gigantic size of her physiognomy. But Christina decided not to respond to this humiliation, and instead, she did what she had to do. She slimmed down. And now, young and old slugs from across the planet can come to see her dance and sing in those oh-so-tight bathing suits. Michael Jackson, the king of pop, the friend of the children he took to his popular Neverland Ranch. What a great loss to the world when Jacko, totally drugged out, passed away in his doctor's arms before his final musical tour. But back to Eminem. The dyed-in-the-wool rapper decided to humiliate the author of Man in the Mirror with his legendary track, Just Lose It. And in this song, Eminem made fun of Jackson's burnt hair and his multiple nose jobs and evidently the plethora of lawsuits he had to endure for sleeping with imbeciles. This upset Jackson so much that he even asked for the video to be censored. But evidently, it wasn't the 1980s. His image was in the toilet, and even South Park cartoons were making fun of him. If Eminem had been so minded, he would have dedicated an entire album to his horrible acts and crimes. But instead, he declared in an interview that he did enough taking Britney Spears to her 30th anniversary concert. That's enough for friend Jacko. Iggy Azalea, this blonde rapper, thought that because she was white, she was going to have Eminem's support in the rap world. When she was a young girl, she'd seen the movie 8 Mile and really believed that she, with far less talent than the Detroit rapper, was going to get the same thing simply because she was mildly attractive. Marshall was quick to mock Azalea and humiliate her directly with the song Vegas. But he went a little too far by saying that he wanted to spend an intense night with Iggy without her consent. But he got what he wanted. The Aussie jumped on her own personal Twitter and responded to him in a pathetic way by criticizing old men and raising a false feminist flag. And all this did was give notoriety to Eminem's album. Notoriety that the rapper needed after a while without releasing any songs. Machine Gun Kelly. In The Ringer, the first song of the album Kamikaze, things get off to a very strong start because Eminem launches head-on attacks on several of the rappers of the new school, and in a very curious way. And then he parodies the style of Lil Pump and Gucci Gang and other ridiculous characters of the Z generation. And their only focus is bragging on social networks, and they barely have any musical quality. But that's not the only one. Eminem's beef with Machine Gun Kelly came from a long, long time ago. since in 2012 the guy who enjoys all the silicone of Megan Fox wrote a tweet where he said that Eminem's daughter was very hot, and evidently that made Eminem quite uncomfortable. As if he was a Galician peasant who has never seen the sunlight, he sat for days ruminating on his revenge and brooding for 6 years until he decided to take his revenge with this song, Kill Shot. He also responded to a ridiculous song by MGK, who tried to parody Eminem's legendary rap god. In this song, Slim Shady trashes Machine Gun Kelly, even making fun of the ridiculous costumes he wears to his famous Halloween parties with his actress girlfriend. But then where he really puts the boot in is in Not Alike, where he criticises his poor rapping skills, calls his songs weak and lacking in substance, and then calls him a druggie. After all, there's no one better than a former stoner to spot another stoner. MGK, you've been spotted and you've been portrayed. It must have left quite a mark, because then he left rap behind to go to the style he really likes, pop. Mariah Carey. Now this alcoholic lady humiliates herself every year when she appears singing her classic carol with the likes of Justin Bieber. But Eminem decided to lay it on the floor back in 2009 with the song Bagpipes from Baghdad from the album Relapse. In this track, Eminem just bragged about spending a sweet night in a hotel room with the surgically operated singer. He also dedicated some unkind epithets to her then-husband Nick Cannon. Carey responded in a ridiculous song where she simply said that Eminem had a Napoleon complex, something that you don't have to be very smart to recognize he has. And so Marshall decided to answer her in The Warning, where he claimed to have some very suggestive photographs of both of them, and where he also called Mariah a stalker. Sound advice for her to close her beautiful and multi-operated mouth, lest she mention him again in a song. Britney Spears, the little princess of pop, could not be missing from a list of this kind. The artist of Oops, I Did It Again had positioned herself in favour of her partner Christina in the beef she had with Eminem, and Marshall never really forgave her for that. In The Real Slim Shady, he already made a small mention, indicating how embarrassing it was to be next to Britney in the award shows. But then he destroyed her just a little bit more in an interview where he said that, on the one hand, she showed a good girl image on the covers of her albums and video clips, but then she dressed like trash, like a woman of the bad life, every time there was an awards gala. All this upset Eminem very much, as his daughter was a big fan of Spears, and he believes that women like that just shatter the mentality of the sweetest ones in the household, as they think you have to dress like trash in order to be successful on social media. That she looked like a sweet teenager but then in reality was a femme fatale didn't sit well with them. And then he went on to declare that she would have a very black future in the music industry if she continued down that path. Now, as of today, we know that Britney was destroyed by her own father, and if she had actually followed Eminem's advice, she would not have ended up in the sorry state that she is today. Sorry, Britney. Again, you've been humiliated. Now you, dear viewer, if you'd like Eminem to humiliate us in his next song, you know, the typical, you make a cash cow channel, show your ugly face, yeah, so we can see you, you know the sort of thing. What a flow, eh? Well, subscribe to the channel and let us know in the comments just how you would like us to be humiliated. Oh, the joys of art. Now, stop by the video on the screen. You know, you'll love that one too. See you in the next show.